Happy birthday, darling. Blow out your candles and make a wish. My wife, Claire, and my 12-year-old daughter, Angie, stared at me, waiting. I looked down at my cake and the burning candle and thought, I've never been happier, but something's different about Claire lately. I made my wish. Please let me find peace in our new home on this beautiful island. Claire stared at her phone, distracted. I got annoyed. Hey, are you with me? Yeah, sorry. I know it's my birthday and all, but what's up with you? What do you mean? The last few weeks you've been acting kind of strange. She casually brushed that off. I don't feel any different. She took out her diving knife from her holster and started cutting the cake. Angie awkwardly watched both of us. I decided to let it go for now. Okay, who wants cake? The next morning, Angie and I went swimming. I was going for a new personal record to see how long I could hold my breath. I loved the quiet of being underwater, although I had to be careful that I didn't touch any of that poisonous coral. My lungs were burning. Time to swim up. Great job, Dad. You made it to 10 minutes and 32 seconds. We were walking home when we heard the loud rumble of an engine from above. We walked up to a few trees that looked out over a small valley and saw a diesel engine airplane landing on the island. Daddy, I thought we were the only ones that lived here. We are, darling. They're probably just visiting. Let's get a closer look. We walked down the ridge, hid behind some trees, and watched 3 men in military fatigues get out of the plane and open the back cargo gate. Then 3 speedboats pulled up on the shore, and 6 men with rifles stepped off the boats and greeted the flight crew. What are they doing, Daddy? I have no idea, but it's probably not anything good, darling. They started unloading wooden crates from the back of the plane onto the speedboats. Then, a tall, dark-haired man stepped out from the back of the plane and was scanning the area with binoculars. Get down! I ducked down with my daughter as fast as I could, then glanced up through some tree branches and saw the man locked on us through his binoculars. I took her by the hand and rushed away. I got home and told Claire what happened. So you think the guy spotted you? Yeah, I think so. And we're the only house on this island, so I won't be surprised if they come knocking. She stayed eerily still and seemed totally unfazed. Did you hear what I said? Yeah, I got nervous because I could tell she was hiding something. What's up with you? She crossed her arms. Nothing. It's just, I had a weird phone call with my sister, that's all. What do you mean, weird? She's just been acting kind of strange and distant lately, and every time I ask her what's up, she makes up some excuse before I could say another word. Knock, knock, knock. My back straightened up. Take Angie into the other room. Don't come out. And if something bad happens, run out of the back and hop in our boat and get to Nassau. I wouldn't leave you. If you need to save Angie, you better. Claire took Angie into the other room, and I peeked through the window blinds and saw the tall man that spotted us and 2 men with rifles standing behind him. I panicked. A million thoughts rolled through my mind. I figured that it was better to answer the door and see if there was a way to talk this out, instead of not answering and risking having him bust the door down. I opened it up, and the man smiled, flashing yellow, crooked teeth. Hello, my friend. How are you on this fine morning? All right. How about you? I am wonderful. Thank you for asking. My name is Salvatore. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? My name's Cal. I figured I might as well tell him the truth. Do you mind if I come inside and we have a little chat? My heart pounded. I had to come up with an excuse that didn't offend him. Actually, my daughter's not feeling very well, so if you don't mind, let's just chat here. He studied me, trying to detect a lie. I understand. I'll get to the point. Did you happen to see what my friends and I were unloading? I did not. He glared at me, not believing a word. Now that's not very nice. We are new friends, and you lie to me this soon in our relationship. I'm not lying to you. I saw you guys moving some wooden crates, but I didn't see what was inside them. Okay, I believe you. What do you do for a living? I'm a marine biologist. You study fish? I nodded, started getting impatient because I had no idea where this was going. Do you have any friends at the police department or the DEA by any chance? I don't. He pulled out a few $100 in cash. Just in case you feel the urge to call the authorities, let this little gift of, let's say, 10 grand help you decide not to. He offered me 10 grand in cash. I knew that if I took it, I would be in debt to what seemed like a serious drug cartel. I can't take that from you, and you don't have to worry. I don't plan on telling anyone anything. He held out the cash, not taking no for an answer. Take the money. I gritted my teeth. Had to stay strong. I appreciate the offering, but I really don't need it. He stepped closer to me. I don't think you understand how this works. If you don't take it, you become a threat. Let me tell you how I deal with threats. I eliminate their entire bloodline from this beautiful planet. Now take the money. I panicked, faced with a terrible decision. Either way, I was screwed. If I took the cash, he owned me. If I didn't, he might kill us right here and now. I took the cash and felt something shift inside me. That's a good little boy. I glared at him, wanting to knock out his ugly yellow teeth. I was in the Navy 15 years ago, and I can handle myself. But I also knew his 2 armed buddies were watching me closely. Salvatore smiled at me and wasn't done. Do you like it when I call you my little boy? I stayed quiet, not wanting to answer. Answer me. me. Do you like it? He could tell that I was pissed, and he wanted to make me his bitch. I still chose to stay quiet because there was no winning with this guy. Better yet, why don't you get on your knees and kiss my hand? Kind of like in the old gangster films. Get down on your knees and kiss it. He put his hand out, glanced back at his pals, and they snickered. I realized right then that I had no other choice but to fight. This piece of crap would never let up and would probably try and kill me anyway, so I pretended to go along with it. Okay, whatever, man. I reached into my pocket and gripped onto my keys, making one of them a makeshift sharp object. He stood there, holding his hand out like he was a big boss. I grabbed his hand with my left hand, then quickly pulled him in towards me and stabbed him in the eye with my key. He screamed out in agony. Then I spun him around and held him in front of me like a shield with my key against his neck. Take it easy, fellas. They both aimed their rifles at me. Lower your weapons. Lower them right now, Salvatore commanded them. Put them down, you idiots. They followed orders. Toss your guns over to me, now. They threw their rifles near my feet. I shoved Salvatore towards them and picked up both rifles. You dicks are gonna leave this island and never come back here, or I will end you. I stuck his cash inside the front of his pants as he stared at me with his one good eye. Do you really think I'll just let you blind me and forget about it? I don't figure you will, but I had to try. He pointed his hand at me, formed his fingers into a fake gun, and shot towards me, signaling that he would come back and kill me. I'll be seeing you, Fishman. I'm sure you will. One-eyed Willie. I thought I was hilarious. He didn't agree. They walked away. I rushed back inside. Claire, pack your bags. We need to get to our boat and get off this island now. Wait, what? I'll explain on the way. Go. I quickly grabbed my duffel bag of guns and ammo and packed up some basic supplies. This island was pretty large, and we were the only ones to ever build a house on it. Do we have to leave? Yes. They will be back soon, and we can't put Angie in danger. We're gonna get over to Nassau and go straight to the cops. I had shoddy reception normally, but tried to see if I could get through. I trembled as I dialed 911. Come on, come on. No reception. I hung up. Let's go. We gotta go, girls. We rushed out and made our way through thick brush. My blood pressure soared as I kept checking for any signs of trouble. I had carved out a thin pathway that led out to the beach where our boat was docked. I could tell Angie was scared. Honey, I'm sorry we had to leave so fast, and I know you're afraid, but you know I will never let anything bad happen to you or Mommy. I know, Dad. We made it out of the thick brush and rushed towards our speedboat. I tossed my bag down into it, looked down, and saw tons of bullet holes at the bottom, and the boat was already filled with water. They had already shot it up. Shit! Okay, let's head to the higher ground and camp out today. Claire looked at me, panicked. Are you sure we can't go back home and set up a barricade? Wouldn't that be safer? I hesitated, unsure. I mean, if Salvatore and his guys are really gonna come for us, I feel like we stand a better chance in shelter, right? I stopped cold, felt a shiver travel up my spine. How did you know his name was Salvatore? She fidgeted nervously. You told me his name. No, I didn't. Oh, then I must have overheard him at the door. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I glanced over at her, skeptical. I could feel that she was hiding something, but decided to let it go for now. We made it back to our house, rushed in, and locked the door. I paced around the house, desperately trying to get some reception. Come on, get through. Nothing. I hung up, then rushed into the garage, grabbed several wooden panels, and boarded up our windows and barricaded in our doors. I left a strip on the side of a window open, just in case I needed to fire my gun out. I strategically placed 4 guns around the 4 corners of my house. Claire was pacing, frantic. Hey, Angie, why don't you go and play in your room, honey, okay? She nodded and left. I cornered Claire. You're being weird. You need to tell me if you know something. Fine. There's a reason I convinced you to choose this island. I froze. What do you mean? My sister has been trying to report on all the drugs flowing from the Bahamas up to Miami and has been shut out by her boss at the paper. She had a suspicion that the Cuervos cartel was using this island as a transport spot. She needed me to take pictures and document their activity so she could go to the DEA with something. I was so enraged that I could barely speak. So you put me and Angie in danger so you could track the cartel. I'm sorry. I didn't actually think it was real. She told me that the chances of it being real were really small. Well, she was seriously wrong about that. And why wouldn't you tell me? I didn't want you always thinking about it and ruin our perfect life here. I am so sorry. She covered her face, held back tears. Whatever happens here will be on you. Either way, we don't have time to talk about this. Grab that rifle and wait by the kitchen window. All we have to do is make it through the night and we can catch a ride on Ronnie's shrimp boat in the morning. He'll be stopping by with his weekly delivery. I grabbed my rifle and set my scope. We had water and some beef jerky, and it was now time to wait. Nightfall came, and then we heard footsteps and whispering outside. I could see through our surveillance camera monitors 2 cartel guys heading around to the back of the house, and 2 more making their way to the front. They started kicking in at the front and back doors. Angie rushed into the room, covering her ears. Come here, baby. Come here. It's gonna be okay. They're just trying to scare us. They're dummies. Here, I grabbed the largest noise-canceling headphones and covered her ears with them. I had her hide in the closet, then grabbed my rifle and aimed out of the front window. I saw both of them trying to kick in the front door. Boom! Boom! The wood splintered. I aimed outside, let out a calm breath, and opened fire. I took out one, and the other one started firing towards my position. I ducked down, face first on the ground, and saw glass and wood shards scatter above my head and land on my back. Claire started crying and was paralyzed by fear. I rushed over to the back kitchen window and saw two more guys shooting in at the door, trying to bust it open. I fired back through a doggy door up at them. I took out both of them. They had no idea what hit them. Silence. Eerie, cold silence. I checked the surveillance cameras and saw no one was around. Each moment that went by felt like it was in slow motion. I lifted Claire off of the ground. Shh, it's gonna be okay. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. We'll get through this, okay? She nodded as I wiped the tears off of her cheeks. I checked on Angie and she was fine, still listening to music on the headphones. I took in several deep breaths, trying to keep my composure. My heart was pounding and I was covered in sweat. We survived the first barrage, but wasn't sure we would survive the next one. I kept checking the cameras and didn't see anyone yet. My fear level raised big time. We may want to consider getting out of here. They'll be returning with something way worse. Where are we supposed to go? Isn't being out in the open way more dangerous? I'm not sure. We're also trapped in here, so I don't know. I'll at least give us a way out, just in case we need a quick escape. Then my spine stiffened when I heard Salvatore calling out, "Fishman! Oh, Fishman! Are you there?" I decided it would be better to stay quiet, looked at my surveillance camera, and saw Salvatore about 20 feet away, holding a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. I froze in absolute terror, not expecting that kind of firepower. In a panicked whisper, "Get Angie. We need to go now. I'll give you 10 seconds before I blow up your stupid little house." I grabbed Claire and Angie's hands in a frantic pace and rushed towards the opposite side of the house. 10, 9, I don't want to wait that long. 1, the sound of the rocket firing off was like hearing a whistling train that's about to storm right through the middle of your house. I ducked down, and a massive fireball blasted into the living room. I yanked Claire and Angie down, and we made it through the side door. We all flew a few feet through the air from the explosion and landed in some brush. To make matters worse, I wasn't able to grab a gun. We had nothing to defend ourselves with. Angie was terrified, which broke my heart and pissed me off beyond belief. The fact that he put my daughter through this made me want blood. We got up, rushed away from our burning home, and headed towards a higher ridge on the island. Claire was genuinely horrified, and I saw how much guilt she was torturing herself with. "Look, you can't go back now. We need to help each other and survive, okay? It's not going to help me or you to be so hard on yourself." She nodded. "Good. Angie, yes? Do you want to play a little game with me? Okay. I need you to help me find the best hiding spot on the island. Can you do that for me?" "Okay, Daddy." We quickly hiked up the ridge, and I looked back and saw Salvatore and 5 men spreading out and approaching our position. "Daddy, over there." Angie pointed at a small ditch below a tree. "Perfect. Great job, Angie. Crawl inside and hide." She slid down inside the ditch, and we used leaves to cover her up. "Stay right here and be really quiet, okay? Only come out if you hear my voice, okay?" "Okay." I walked a few feet away with Claire. "You need to stay hidden as well." "No, I want to help. You'll help if we split up and make it difficult for them to find any of us. I want you to hide near Angie so I can lure them to the water. If I can get them to fight me underwater, we stand a chance." She grabbed my face and kissed me. "I can't tell you how sorry I am." I nodded, then stayed quiet. It wasn't the time to deal with the past right now. I had her hide underneath some brush on the top of the ridge. I made my way down the hill towards them and saw Salvatore heading towards me. I positioned myself to a spot where he could see me, and I ran as fast as I could down to the ridge. I came out to the beach, turned around, and saw an area where I loved diving. There were sharp, poisonous coral reefs only 3 feet under the surface. I was a hell of a swimmer and could hold my body just below the surface without touching the coral. I saw Salvatore and 2 men approaching me from the jungle and dove into the water. The first guy rushed up to where I was swimming and fired like a maniac into the water. I curled up below the surface and prayed that I didn't get hit with a bullet. I saw white, bubbly streaks whiz past my head only inches from my face. It was dark, so they couldn't see where I was swimming. Then I noticed a cartel guy drop his gun on the sand, pull out a knife, and dive into the water. I took a deep breath just above the surface, then swam down a few feet and waited near a rock. When he got close to me, I grabbed his leg and yanked him down hard into the edge of the rock. It scraped his back, and I saw him grimace in pain. He stabbed at my face, and I slipped out of the way, used his momentum, and slammed his face into the rock. He went unconscious and sank down to the bottom of the ocean. Before I could resurface and get some air, the other cartel cartel guy was already on my back with a knife around my throat. I gripped onto his wrist and felt his blade cut into my throat. I gritted my teeth and fought to get the knife away from my neck. I reversed positions and got his back to face the sharp rock. I started to lose my breath and was flailing in a panic. I started seeing stars and then used all the strength I had in my legs, swam backwards, and slammed his back into the edge of the rock. He let the knife go, sunk down into the water, and face planted right into the poisonous coral. I quickly swam up and gasped for air, barely surviving. I walked out onto the shore and saw Salvatore waiting for me. I thought to myself, only one more, and my family and I will be safe. Then I looked behind him, and out of the shadows, more than 20 cartel men stepped up behind him with their guns raised. I was screwed. I put my arms up in surrender and lowered my head in agony as I saw my wife and daughter being held with gags in their mouths. Salvatore got in my face. I must say, you have been a very troubling surprise. Normally, any civilians that get in our way are easily eliminated. You are a fighter. I like that about you. But you chose to mess with the wrong cartel, my friend. And ending you and your family right now would be way too easy and, to be honest, unsatisfying. I plan to get highly creative with how I will kill you. Put them in the boat. My terror deepened when I thought of how fragile my daughter was. They put us onto a large yacht and shoved us down in the engine room. We were all gagged and had our hands tied behind our backs. My wife and daughter weren't crying anymore. They were more resigned and scared at this point. I needed to quickly formulate a plan. The yacht picked up speed, and I scanned through all the engine equipment, at a loss. Claire wiggled and shimmied and was grunting. Then I looked down and saw that she was using her small diving knife and cut through her zip ties. She did the same for me and Angie, and we all spit the gags out of our mouths. I hugged them. I'm so sorry. Claire held back tears. You have no reason to be sorry. I spent a summer with my dad on a Navy ship when I was a teenager. There's a lot here to mess with. If we don't get off this yacht before we reach wherever we're going, we're done. I scanned the room and saw what I needed. We need to sabotage the boat. I used Claire's knife and cut the raw water cooling line. The yacht instantly slowed down. I heard chatter from above and yelling from Salvatore. What the hell is happening? I tried to open the ventilation window to see if we can actually crawl out, but it was too small. Then we heard the rumbling sound of another boat approaching and slowing down. The hatch opened up, and I quickly signaled that we all put back on our zip ties and gags. The hatch was just about to open when we got back to our original positions. A cartel guy grabbed us and pulled us up onto the deck. I looked across and saw another boat with a woman standing on board. She stepped over a ramp to our deck, and the light finally hit her face to reveal Samantha, Claire's sister. I could see that Claire felt a sense of relief. I was confused because she was on her own. Then my gut turned into knots when Salvatore swung his arm around her as if they were old friends. There's my favorite American journalist. Claire stared at her in utter disbelief. I don't understand. Samantha was ice cold. Sorry, sis. There's a lot you don't know, and I don't have time to explain it. Claire shook her head in disarray. No, you're a journalist. Yeah, no, never actually been one. Who would want that kind of boring-ass job anyway? I had to know. So what do you do for these animals? Salvatore didn't appreciate that. Whack. He cracked me across the face with the back of his hand. I am a very sophisticated human being that understands the primal brain. Don't ever refer to me as an animal. Samantha smiled as if she agreed. I run the North American logistics for the Cuervos cartel. I put you on that island and fed you that fake story because we needed a civilian family to live there, so when the DEA did aerial surveillance, they would see you and your stupid little family swimming and farming and doing dumb family crap. It was the perfect cover. That is until freaking Rambo over here decided to be a hero and mess everything up. Salvatore took out a long blade. I still cannot believe I let this cabron blind me. I want to handle him personally. My terror peaked. If you want, I can also handle your sister and their idiot child. I shook my head, amazed at how little these people value human life. Samantha casually lit a cigarette. Yeah, you take care of it. I need to handle some other business. Claire glared at her, astonished. My own blood. Yeah, whatever. Blood's overrated. I wanted to end her so badly, and I felt our options quickly running out. A cartel guy ran up from the engine room. Boss, this guy cut the water cooling line. We're stuck. Salvatore's eyes turned red with rage. He grabbed Claire, raised his blade, and then flashing red and blue lights swirled around us, and a loud siren went off. This is the United States DEA. You are all under arrest. I looked out, and for the first time I felt a small ounce of actual hope. I saw Salvatore swing down his blade towards Claire, and I quickly shook off the zip ties and tackled Salvatore into the side railing of the boat. At the exact same time, all 20 cartel guys aimed their guns and opened fire at the DEA boat. I couldn't see how many DEA agents were on the boat, but they happily fired back, and they weren't caring who they shot. Salvatore stood up, caught a bullet to the skull, flopped over the railing, and fell into the water. I grabbed Claire and Angie and rushed back down into the engine room. Claire pulled her hand away from me. I have to kill that bitch, I signaled to Angie. Run down and hide, now! Angie rushed into the engine room. I followed Claire up to the deck, and we saw Samantha firing her gun at the DEA and trying to hop back onto her boat. The bullets kept whizzing by, and I was horrified for Claire. She snuck up behind Samantha, disarmed her, and punched her across the face so hard that she catapulted her body over the railing and into the water. Then 2 more DEA boats approached along with Ronnie, our delivery boat driver. He's not a delivery guy. He's an undercover DEA agent. Claire ducked down and ran back over to me, and we quickly hid back inside the engine room. We heard pure insanity, chaos, and gunfire rattling off, and then complete silence. The DEA had eliminated every cartel guy. I heard voices from above. If anyone else is here, come out with your hands up. I nodded to Claire and Angie, and we stepped out from below in surrender. They had lifted Samantha out of the water, and she was crying. Thank God you guys showed up. They were going to kill us. Claire was about to call her out. Then Ronnie chimed in. Bitch, we have binoculars and cameras that showed you firing at us. Idiot. Samantha's tears turned to stone as she got handcuffed. I hugged Claire and